Let's start today's session. This is the first session of DJANGO after completion of Python. Okay. So strictly remember, you must and should aware Python programming before going to continue this DJANGO development. So what is DJANGO and why we use DJANGO? Complete introduction we'll discuss in today's session. So in tomorrow's session, I'll show you how to set up a DJANGO project with the proper steps. So this session is completely belongs to three frameworks actually. One is DJANGO framework, and next one is REST API framework, and then FLASK framework, along with some projects, right? Yes. So we also deal with the minimum 3 to 4 projects, okay, in this area, DJANGO, REST API, FLASK. So if you develop some project after learning DJANGO framework, REST API, and FLASK, so that you will get clarity how to develop a application in reality. So in real-time situation, how to handle the DJANGO project development, you will come to know that. So as you know that DJANGO is a framework, right? And even REST API also framework, FLASK also framework. First, we will focus on DJANGO. Okay. But first few days, at least 1 week sessions, I'm going to conduct in DJANGO so that you will get how to set up complete DJANGO project. And after completion of setup of DJANGO, then we will move to UI basics, means user interfaces. So UI technology is also compulsory required, right? So UI basics we are going to use. Why UI basics means without having UI knowledge, user interface knowledge, we can't able to design the web page. That is the main thing. So that's the reason UI basics are also important. Only once we complete the setup of Django, then we will start UI development. And totally we'll spend complete UI basics like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, Bootstrap, jQuery, all these things. And once we complete the UI basics, then we will move towards again Django for development of web applications. After completion of Django, then we'll start REST API. That means how to generate APIs for Django web application also, you will be able to learn it. Once we complete REST API, then finally Flask also we'll discuss. This is the simple framework and it is a micro framework of Python. Okay. So Flask through we can develop single page web applications or dashboard kind of applications. REST API through we can generate APIs for Django web applications. API generation is possible. So all we need to discuss orderly. Then first of all, we need to focus on Django. So let me introduce Django, what is exactly here. So as you know that Python is the prerequisite subject of Django, right? Before going to start learn Django, so Python is the prerequisite subject. So at least you must have Python knowledge like functions, modules, especially modules are very important in Django. What we learn in Python modules, that is important here. And object-oriented programming, classes and objects, and how to create object for the class. These are all important in Django development. So let's start with Django. First of all, what is Django? Django is a framework. Django is a framework which is used to develop the web applications. Django is a framework which is used to develop the web applications. Okay, and Django is a Python-based web development framework. It is a Python-based web development framework. Django is. Why it is Python-based web development framework means, so it's completely written in Python programming language. DJANGO is completely written in Python programming language. Python programming language. So this framework, how they develop means using Python programming language. That's what it is, a Python-based framework. So prerequisite subject of DJANGO is Python only. To know about Python, then easily we can able to manage the DJANGO framework for web development. And by using DJANGO, we can develop web applications in very less time. Yes. By using DJANGO framework, DJANGO framework, we can develop, we can develop the web applications in very less time in the sense it won't take much more time. The reason is why when we install Django framework, so there are a lot of libraries will be automatically installed. That libraries also, that is web application related libraries. Once you get the libraries, and you know that library is nothing but it's a built-in classes. Each library contain lot of built-in classes. Each class contain lot of built-in methods. Already they have implemented some logic that directly we can able to use it. That is the main purpose of libraries, right? So it is completely Django framework will offer lot of libraries for developing web applications. Using that libraries only, we can start development of Django applications in very less time. It won't take much more time. Library is nothing but it's a ready-made resources, ready to use it. As a programmer, we are going to use it directly without recreation. Means we need not to create it and directly we can use it. That's what it will take less time. And Django is a high-level and open source Python-based web framework. Yes, it is completely high-level. Django is a high-level open source, open source Python-based Python-based framework. It is completely high-level, and all the low-level activities also will taken care by Python with the Django. And then open source means Django is completely open source. You can feel free to visit official website and then collect the uh, what we can say, collect the code and use it in your application. That is completely open source platform. And the official website, I'll tell you that what is the official website of Django also. And it has having clear documentation. Yes, Django has clear documentation. It follows the principle called DRY, do not repeat yourself. Okay. So Django has its clear documentation. Django has its clear documentation. Clear documentation. And it follow the principle called DRY. Means do not repeat yourself. Yes. We don't repeat the code. Instead of that, we reuse the code. Reusability means you know that one time if you write the logic and multiple places, we can use it directly without re-implementing the logic, sir, actually. So it is having clear documentation and it follow the principle called DRY, do not repeat yourself. So with this principle, we in maximum cases in Django development, we are going to avoid the repetition of the code. We are going to avoid the repetition of the code, and we are going to use most of the cases reusability code only. So this is exactly Django. And most important thing is Django is completely based on MVT design pattern. So throughout our lectures of Django completely in the everyday project development, we are going to use this architecture only. So this is our main architecture, MVT architecture. So Django is based on MVT design pattern. DJANGO is a DJANGO is based on MBT architecture, MBT design pattern, MBT design pattern. See, sir, to understand MBT design pattern, I'm going to give a basic information now. Later part, we'll discuss in detail why exactly MBT, how it is going to work in our application development. So we'll discuss in detail. But just to understand this, what is MBT design pattern, what things under comes into MBT design pattern will give you clarity. So M for model actually, V for view, T for template. Okay, very simple. M for model, V for view, T for template. See, model is nothing but in Django development process, model represent a database. It is going to represent a database, but it's not database, it's representing database. View is nothing but, okay, business logic code. Means completely logic code only this is. Model means database, okay, database it is. Model means database. And then view means data, logic code. View means logic code. And template means design, just design. So template design. So in the web application implementation, all are required, right? So first, as soon as when user can visit the website, what he is going to see on the screen, design only. So that design is nothing but template. And after getting the design like user interface, user can interact with the design by entering username, password, or if you have a registration page, like all the registration details, he might enter like username, password, mail ID, address, age, all these things. When we click on submit, some action will be performed, right? All the details can store into database. For that action, we need to write logic. Logic, how we can write? This is view only. Inside the view, we have to write. And after logic executing, then the data will be stored into somewhere, right? Where it can store the data, database only. So generally we need to accept the inputs from the user. User where he can give the inputs in the design, UI technologies. And when user giving the details in the UI, and it has to be processed the inputs, whether it is correct or not. If it is correct, we have to insert the data into database. That logic we are going to write in the view section, that is logic code only. And after that, user wants to store the data safely, securely in the database. So database purpose, we use a model. So total three things are there: database, logic code, and design. Now database, how we can implement? Yes, in Django framework, there is a built-in database is there. The moment when we set up the Django project, by default, Django project always integrated with SQLite 3 database. Or we can also do later MySQL part, because MySQL is the most commonly used in real-time Django web development. That's what MySQL also we will introduce, no problem. So these two subjects we are going to learn in the part of database, especially in the MBT pattern where we can use in the model M. And then logic code also there. Logic code, how we write programming language, right? Already we know the programming language Python. And then design part, how we can do means UI technologies. Like that's what I'm taking after 5 demos or 5 lectures of Django. Immediately once we set up complete Django setup complete, then we will focus on HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery, and then Bootstrap. We are going to focus all these only. Okay. So this is completely UI technologies. It will come under design. Design under comes into template in MBT pattern. So we have to know all these things. Why? Because in Django, every time we are going to deal with MBT design pattern, right? This design pattern through only we are going to develop Django projects. So model represent database. In the database, we are going to learn SQLite 3 and MySQL. And logic part means view. Most of the people or students may think that view is nothing but we are going to view on the screen, right? That is called uh, design. No, view is nothing but Python logic. It's completely business logic code we are going to write. How your application need to be process your data and respond. That logic completely written in which language? Python only. Because Django can understand only Python instructions. You need to supply the instructions with Python language code only. Other language code you can't write it, and Django cannot understand and respond how the way you are expecting. So logic code completely written in Python, and template means design. Design is compulsory, right? Once first time when user entered the website, he can able to see on the screen what complete design only user interfaces like text box, labels, buttons, menus, everything we can prepare by using UI technologies only. So design purpose, UI technologies are there. Complete logic and coding purpose, we use Python is there. And database purpose, we have to learn SQLite3 and MySQL. These two tools are there. This is generally overview of MVT. Okay. But later I'll discuss clearly how exactly MVT will work. Okay. There is an architectural diagram also there. So that diagram through I'll explain you clearly how MVT actually. So this is the diagram actually. Let me give the clarity somehow. Let me open this. And you will receive this complete DJANGO PDF, sir. Okay. So once we complete 3-4 demo lectures, all my existing Python full stack students, you will receive this complete PDF. This is DJANGO PDF. So once you receive, you can able to cross verify what is there in this PDF. Okay. Yes. Give me 1 second. So this PDF you will receive later. This is complete full details of documentation of DJANGO. Everything is there clearly step by step. I have given the more clearly. I mentioned the step by step. You can also follow this Django PDF. Total 300 plus pages document is there, which I prepared for only students who are attending Django sessions. You will receive this documentation. Once you see the documentation which I prepared, so no one will get confused while practicing. Okay. Yes. This is the MVT diagrammatic representation. Observe here. Generally, this is MVT pattern design diagram. And forget about this user request Django server URLs. Later, I'll discuss this, what is URL, what is Django server. Okay. And look at this. Just now I discussed, right? MVT, model view template. So model means here it is. Template means user interface. View is nothing but Python logic. And observe carefully here in MVT design pattern, there is no connection between model and template, right? Yes. That meaning is what? In Django development, when we deal with models after preparing the models and even when we prepare with the templates like design, model and template cannot interact with each other. There is no connection between. Okay. So if model and template wants to interact, they can interact via view only. So view will play the important role in Django development, sir. Yes, exactly. View will play the important role. Okay. So this is view logic. So view is responsible to take the request from template and that request sent to the model. Again, model is also a view is responsible to take the response from model and that response will give it back to the template only. That is the main thing actually. So view responsibility is this only. Assume that sir in real-time development, not only I'm speaking about Django web development, in any web development like .NET web development, Java web development, only two things we can do from the user end, right? Either user can store the data into database, that means account creation, registration purpose like that. Or else when user wants to retrieve his details for editing or modification purpose, or he forgot any information like mail ID, password, he can collect it from the database, right? Only two actions we can perform in real time in every web development common. Either you can store the data or we can retrieve the data. Means writing the data into database, reading the data from database. These two actions only will be performed, right? So now how assume that here user interface is there. First of all, I want to write the data, means storing the data into database. So how to store the data? First, we have to visit template. In the template, user can give the inputs. Whatever the data he wants to store into database, he can give the inputs. As soon as when we click on submit button after form filling like username, password, address, mail ID, age and all, as soon as when we click on submit, that details will directly goes to model? No, because there is no connection between template and model, right? It will go to where? View. View is nothing but Python logic according to the discussion. View is nothing but Python logic, right? So here UI means nothing but template only. In the template, user can enter the inputs and that inputs directly goes to view only Python logic. So this Python logic will perform the validations, whether it is correctly, whether it is a user has given correct details or not. It has to be checked the validations, right? Once the view is finding valid data, then immediately this view is going to send the data to the model. Model represent a database, but model is nothing but a database node. It will go to model. Model will give the model will insert the data into database with MySQL or my MSS SQL tree. What configuration of database is there? And next part, this is first requirement. Like user wants to send the data to the database means this is the procedure. In the template, we have to give inputs. That inputs goes to the view. View should collect the user inputs and correctly process the data like validations. After validations, view is going to send the data back to the database. This is okay. Next, if user wants to retrieve the data from database, what he can do means in template, we need to send a request to the view. For what? Getting the data from database. This view can send same request to the model and model will give response to the view after collecting the data from database, and then data can pass to the view. View can send that data back to the template which we are going to present onto the screen only. So ultimately view will play the major role in Django web development, sir. Yes, view will play the major role. So without a view, we can't do anything in Django web development. Strictly remember, in MBT architecture, view is the main role. View is our main hero. Remaining all are artist, model, template, URL, Django, user, all these things. View is nothing but Python logic, right? So already we know that we have a strong knowledge in Python. So already we learned last 2 months, we are focused to learn Python only. So most of them here, all of my students. So I already completed Python lectures, right? We completed. So we are ready to go with Django development with Python code only. So this is exactly just roughly I explained what is MBT, but later we'll come across in detail with practical implementation when I start. Then you will get full clarity how the request is going to be takes place, how the response is going to be processed. Okay. And one thing for sure that in MBT architecture, not only this Django MBT architecture, in every web development process, okay, the Django framework is web development framework. Web development means completely it is depend on client server architecture, sir. Yes. So client server architecture is common to use. Client means who are going to send request to the server. Generally, browser onwards, we are going to send request, right? So browser is nothing but client. Client means from where you are sending request, client request. And the client request generally goes to server. Server is nothing but it is a software which is going to be take client request and process the client request and send the response to the client only. That is client server architecture. It is very common. So server role also very important here. So what is our server means Django web development server. It is integral part of Django framework only. Whenever we install Django framework, automatically Django server will be there. That server only will responsible to take all the client request and process the client request and send that response to the client back only here. So this is exactly Django client server architecture. It is depend on client server architecture only. And total Django framework code completely written in Python language only. That's what we are going to use Python code more. Wherever you write the logic code in Django web development, that code is completely Python code only. Okay. And DJANGO was designed and developed by Lawrence General World in the year of 2003. Okay. And publicly released under BSD license. BSD license means Berkeley Source Distribution License in July 2005. Okay. So actually, let me write that. DJANGO. DJANGO was designed and developed by Lawrence Journal World in the year of 2003 actually. Okay, in the ref 2003 and publicly released in the year of 2005 in July actually 2005. Okay, so this is DJANGO history. So 2005 onwards we are using DJANGO. And the original authors of DJANGO are Adrian Halavati and Simon Willison. These two are the main authors. Okay. The authors of DJANGO is these are the authors. So Adrian Halavati, Simon Willison, these two are the main persons behind the DJANGO development process. Okay. And DJANGO was released 21st July 2005 and it is completely right now maintained by DSF, DJANGO Software Foundation. So currently DJANGO is maintained by DSF, DJANGO Software Foundation. Okay. So what is the official website of DJANGO? So to visit for documentation of DJANGO, then official website is there, sir, actually. The official website is www.django project.com. This is the official website. I'll show you that. This is official website. How we see that official website of Python, like python.org. Okay, same DJANGO official website is www.djangoproject.com. This is, once you visit this, you will see that there is a version also there. There are DJANGO 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think we are in fifth version. DJANGO project.com. This is official website. Now you can see the web framework for perfectionist with the deadlines. DJANGO makes it easier to build better web apps more quickly and with less code. Why with less code means we have in DJANGO a lot of built-in libraries. So using those libraries, we can write the code less time, no matter what type of requirements are there. And notice this here, the main web page only, the version download latest release 5.2.4. This is the latest version which we are currently. So in this project, we are going to use this latest version only 5.2.4. And do you want to read documentation, DJANGO documentation? Click on this DJANGO documentation and everything will be there. But for the first time, without having basic knowledge of DJANGO, you cannot understand this. Look at this here, model layer. What is model? Okay. And view layer, template layer, DJANGO forms also there, settings and admin panel, security, all we have to discuss in details. So what if you attend regularly DJANGO, then you will become master in DJANGO to develop web application for sure. Okay. But only the thing is understanding the flow is important. Obviously, in first initial days, you might get confused some little bit because it's not like Python. Okay, Python is a straightforward, right? We have seen in PyCharm directly open the file and directly we can write the code and execute it and we'll get output. That's an simple. But here in Django, we have to play multiple roles. Like you are only the designer, means we have to design the template. You are only the database management process. That means you have to go and manage your data, and you are only the developer to write the logic with Python in the view section. All together, we have to integrate very well. And in any layer, like in MBT pattern, in any one of the layer, there is some problem, then again, you will get a problem. Actual total application will be have the problem. Generally, this template, I'm saying design, right? Design means what actually presentation layer. This is presentation layer. This is design layer. And logic means business logic layer it is. This is business access layer. Python means business access layer. Three layers representation here. And then database means data access layer. This is these layers through only we are going to implement Django application. Data access layer it is. Total these three layers are there. Data access layer, business access layer, presentation layer. Okay. Yes, this is official website. And 5 point, let's go back to here. So this is latest version 5.2.4. Okay. And in my, how to check in your system whether Django is already exist or not means very simple. Simply go to command prompt. Okay. To check the version of Django. To check the version of Django. And make sure that if before going to set up the Django in your system, compulsory first you have to check Python is there or not. Without Python software installation already, and you can't able to set up the Django. This is also very important. Okay. First to check the version, Python version, Python space hyphen hyphen version. Okay. This is to check the version already, you know that. But here I'm telling you to check Django version. How to do this? Simply go to command prompt. Go to command prompt and then type what command you have to type. Simply Django hyphen admin space hyphen hyphen version. This is the command which you will come to know that what is exactly how it is. Django space at Django hyphen admin space hyphen hyphen version only. Let's see how we are doing. Just I'm checking in my computer already. My ongoing batches are going right. Django batches. For them, I have already set up the Django. Let me check once how the Django version is getting like this. Django hyphen admin space hyphen hyphen version. Look at this. Yeah, it is. Look at this in my system. In the main system, I have not having any Django software. Yes, mainly I have not included Django software here. Okay. But in the virtual environment means every Django project is having separate environment, that is isolated environment. So that's what I'm trying to say, install in that environment. But anyway, here why it is giving means spelling wrong is there. That's what I'm not getting. But generally, even if you don't get the Django version, that means what? It doesn't mean that in your system there is no Django. Yes, it is having Django some because in each project will be prepared or set up in separate environment. In each environment, you have to install Django. It might be same version or different version. But in the current my system version, I'm checking here. Look at this Django hyphen admin space hyphen hyphen version. I'll get this version. Look at this, what version I have. So 5.1.3 for my previous batches, when I launched Django projects, all I have included 5.1.3 version only. So this is the way to check Django hyphen admin space hyphen hyphen version. But if you go through other virtual environments in my project, what I set up, you might get different versions. Yes, in system environment, I have installed 5.1.3, but in my current ongoing projects environment, I might install different virtual environment, right? Not same. So this is also there, sir, actually. So in any number of virtual environments, you can create for every batch separately, but in each virtual environment, you can create a different version of Django. When we shift into that environment, you can automatically work with that version of Django only like that. So this is exactly Django version checking. Simply, if you just confirmation, but make sure that without having Python, you can't able to set up the Django. Django is required Python software, okay, in your system. That's what first you have to cross verify Python is there or not. After that, you can go through Django setup. Without having Python software, you can't able to set up the Django. That's not possible actually. Okay. So this is complete just basic information which I have discussed today. What is what? A very basic information. Okay. So in tomorrow's session, we will continue the regular activities like before going to set up the Django software, I need to explain in some technical terminologies there in web application development. You should understand well that is web, what is web page, what is website, what is web browser and web server. Okay, what are the important features of Django? Okay, so this information I have to discuss in detail. Later, we will start with the Django setup. Setup means installation procedure. Okay. Yeah, yeah. So it is not that much, but it is there. Django web development, full stack web development jobs also there. But it's easy to implement the Django web applications. It's there, sir. Every web application frameworks is having huge demand in the market. No problem at all. Okay. And as I said that currently Django is maintained by Django Software Foundation, right? And Django official website, this is djangoproject.com. Actually, Django, D is the silent actually. Okay, in Django, D is the silent. You should mention Django or else you can go for Django, no problem. So actually, the Django is a name of George guitarist. What is how the Django came into the picture means the original authors, Halavati and Simon Willison. So the name derived from Django, famous George guitarist. Okay. So the Django is a name of George guitarist called Django Reinhardt. Django is a name of famous George guitarist. Yes. So if you go just Google it, you will be able to find Django Reinhardt. He's the man. Spelling wrong, I think so. Django Reinhardt. Yes, he's the person. A legendary Romani French guitarist, Django Reinhardt, was the first hugely influential George guitarist. So, in the name of the authors, decided to give the name of their frameworks. That's what we are calling it as Django only. So, D is the silent, Django only. We have to call it generally, but we used to call Django only. So this is exactly basic introduction today what we discuss about Django. And tomorrow I'll go with the more detailed discussion. And after that, immediately without focus much more on theoretically, we will jump into practically setup of Django completely step by step. I'll try to install. Once you install and Django framework, from there onwards, I'll start coding part directly. So what is view, how to communicate with the view and model and templates all together. So I'll explain the flow clearly. Here, only the thing is you have to understand the flows are. Everyone will write the coding. It's not a big deal, but how the request and how the response is going to be takes place is important. That you have to understand. If you know, if you catch the flow, then it will be easy. If you don't understand the flow, it is more complex to understand Django. That is only the thing is there. Okay. Yes. So I'll take care of everything, no problem. As much as possible, I explain you clearly with the proper flow. Try to understand regularity important here. Not like in Python. Python, if you attend few days after few days gap, and if you attend, then you can easily manage it, no problem. But if you miss the sessions in the middle of DJANGO, again, if you uh, want to understand the things or you want to catch the flow, it is typical process actually. So that's what better to maintain the regularity. That's better. Okay, if you not maintain the regularity, okay, so if you miss in the middle, then that will be a big problem again to catch up the things. Yeah, Srinivas, you can go and ask the question, no problem.
Sir, many doubts, sir.
Yeah,
Many
yeah.
questions. First thing is, you are saying like we'll be covering HTML, CSS, JS, jQuery, Bootstrap.
Mm.
What is the total duration of this course, sir?
3 months,
3 months, weekly 6 days or 5 days, sir?
6 days, 6 days.
Weekly, Monday to Saturday.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, sir. In this 3 months course, how much time you spend on Django, sir? And how much time you spend on HTML, CSS, jQuery, Bootstrap?
That's what. First 5 days of Django, I'm going to completely set up. Okay,
Okay.
setup
Okay.
means models, views, templates, all introduction and coordination will be there. Then after that, we will focus first 1 week completely in UI technologies because the reason is why complete UI is not required in Django.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Because if you want to become a UI full stack developer, then you have to go in deep dive into UI, HTML, CSS, JavaScript. That is required. But actually in Django, most of the validations we will do with the Django framework itself. That's what JavaScript, just we need to learn how to use the JavaScript functionality calling where we can inject that kind of things we'll learn. And
That means
same,
you spent, okay, sir.
yeah,
Continue. Please, sir.
that's what 1 week time only I'll spend on UI technologies.
Okay, sir. Okay, then, fine, sir.
Uh, and come most of the time we have to spend on Django only because it's a huge syllabus. You
Yes.
can receive that content also, course content from my,
Yes, sir. Yes, I've seen, sir.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. That's what it will take a lot of time. So all together, Django, REST API, Flask with the projects, total 3 months it will take for sure.
That means 8, 8, 9, 10. By October, what will be the tentative end date, sir, as per your idea?
That's what 3 months only. Actually, I mean, 45 to 50 sessions will take only Django.
Okay, sir.
Then 20 sessions will be completely REST API. 20 it will take for sure. And then
Okay.
15 sessions will be Flask framework. So 50, 70, 85 sessions for sure it is required.
85 in the sense,
Mm.
4 means almost 4 months, sir.
Yeah, 3 months actually. 3 months
Okay.
enough, but we'll try to cover it actually. But here projects also including projects.
Yes, sir. Yes.
We will develop.
At least by September end, can we complete it, sir?
Yeah, yeah,
Worst case.
yeah,
Okay, sir. Okay.
yeah.
Thank you, sir.
So if you know Python already, right?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, sure, sure. If you know Python, I'm happy because some students may join directly without having Python. Again, they're also getting problem. Even I also,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's why you told us very clearly in the very
yeah,
beginning.
yeah,
You told.
yeah, yeah. Python must actually. If they don't know Python, then waste of time to learn Django.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Yeah, yeah,
Thank you, sir.
yeah, yeah, sure. So please feel free to attend who are new to this session, except my students who are already travel with me last 2 months onwards, but who are especially new to this Django. And please continue with the next three demo lectures. Then after that, you can decide. Okay. Have a nice time. See you tomorrow.
Sir, it is 1 hour only, sir, daily.
Yeah, 1 hour only. 1 hour only.
7:30 to 8:30. Okay, sir.
7:30 to 8:30 exactly.
Okay.
Demos will be like that 45 to 50
I
minutes. That
understand, sir. I
once I
understand.
start the regular session, it will be
It will
one
be
hour.
1 hour. Okay. 5 minutes,
And
that's okay, sir. No
yeah,
problem.
after demos, every session is going to be now only it is going to recorded. And
Yes.
once you demos is over, then I'll share the Django videos folder. Every day I'll post that video. I upload that video into that folder. Automatically, you'll get access.
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Yeah,
sir.
and videos lifetime will be accessed once I share from my end. You can keep in your drive safely. How long time you want, you can keep it and you can save it. You can watch it anytime, no problem.
Thank you, sir. Thank
Yeah,
you. Nice to hear your demo session, sir. It's fine.
yeah, yeah. Fine,
Fantastic.
fine.